connections there were kind of spotty. Okay. Okay. There were kind of spotty. Okay. So I just realized that while we're live, you can't see me, but you can hear everything I'm saying. So you probably still hear myself and my puppy dog chomping on these jalapeno poppers that I'm stuffing in my that I'm stuffing in my face right now. Okay. Hey, it's all right. I got you. All right. Yeah. I'm just gonna share this out now. I'm gonna share out that we're live. All right. Oh, already. Wait, wait a minute. Oh boy. I mean, listen. She wants treats. Like literally, the only thing she lives for is like cuddles and treats. If I'm not petting her, or if someone's not just paying attention to her, she wants food in her mouth. That's what it is. And that's she's adorable. She's lucky. She's cute. All right. I like having a countdown. Dude, I love your graphic. Oh, Hello, hello. Listen, man, you humble me with like every time I talk to you, your introductions are like the best. Like I want you to introduce me for like anything I ever do because you just you put me on this pedestal and that's amazing. I thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm just humbled and honored to be your first guest for your show.
All right. I think there is a problem. They cannot hear me. Can you now hear me? Hello? Anyone from the chat? No, you can hear me there. All right. So I would like to thank my technical director, my wife. Are awesome. All right. So yeah. Um First and foremost, how did you start with the idea of cosplay?
Um, well, cosplay, it honestly, it kind of came with Halloween. Um, I've always just loved Halloween and dressing up for Halloween. Growing up, we had the kind of janky costumes where there's like the plastic masks and everything was hot and just oh, it was just terrible. But I've always just loved dressing up, and it was about 2012 when I wanted to one Halloween I wanted to go as John Stewart. I want to be John Stewart Green Lantern, and that was it was a costume you really couldn't find at Halloween stores. So my girlfriend, who I'm still with, she's an excellent seamstress. She helped me sew the costume, and we actually both went as Green Lanterns for Halloween that year. And I still have the costume, and it just kind of took off from there. I didn't know anything about cosplaying or conventions. I just wanted to enjoy Halloween. From that, it went to charity events, and then that's when I discovered like like conventions and actual cosplay at conventions. And it was a well known cosplayer who asked me like, what convention do you go to? And I was like, I've never been to one. So I went to my very first convention at the end of 2012, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And like to date now, I've probably done over 250 cosplays. I love the idea of becoming these characters, just characters that you either grew up with or that you love, or you just you feel a connection with, that you just like to create. And it's an artistic art form, and it's just been a huge positive outlet for me.
Yeah. And what are the things that you consider fulfilling in doing cosplay? Oh,
No,
what drives you to do it more nowadays?
um, nowadays, well, you know what? When I first started, I think it was more or less like I'm having fun. It was a sensation of, man, I like doing this. I want to do it more and more and more and more. Now it's kind of evolved into I see how the impact of what I do has on other people. So I actually take that into account. So I kind of figure like, you know what I do, it's fulfilling in some sort of way for me, but man, look, there's other people getting enjoyment from this, whether it's me raising money for like charities, or it's just honestly just me doing something, and someone saying, "Oh my God, like I love that character. I can't believe he did it. I'm just so happy." Even just bringing that type of joy to someone, it's kind of evolved into like a personal art form to wanting to bring something to the masses. Um, so yeah, it's kind of a all around type of good feeling between something personal for me, but then also knowing that it is bringing a little bit of happiness and joy to other people.
All right. So, based on what I know, uh, because you're a police deputy, right? Um, how do you associate your line of work with cosplay? And does it have a separate entity? The Michael Wilson as Officer Michael Wilson and Michael
Right.
Wilson as Knightmage.
No, they're one and the same. One thing I'm very big about is not having that separate identity. Um, One thing is I'm very proud of what I do. I'm very, very proud of the occupation that I chose, the career that I chose. And so, especially in this day and age, I want to show that that's not something to be afraid of. I want to show that, you know, those in law enforcement, we are human. We are just, as geeky and stuff as the next person. So that's something I honestly I don't hide at all. Um, so there's no like on social medias I have my Knightmage page and I have my Michael Wilson page, but I treat them both the same. So I if I post something on one, I'm gonna post it on the other. They're all the same. There's no difference. It basically is just a matter of form of this is who I am. Um, this is what I love. And if you love one, then you know what, you have to accept the other. So it's a total package. Like whatever it is that you love about me, if you followed me because of my profession, because you respected that, well then you got to take the cosplaying side of it and all that stuff. If you love the cosplaying side, well then you know what, you have to take the profession and that side of it. So it's a total package. And yeah, I really just kind of want to show that it is all one and the same. Like again, we're all human. We're all have our likes and dislikes and opinions and so forth, and it's a total package.
All right, let me do a segue since you already opened it up. Everyone, the link to Mr. Nightmage's accounts
What did
are in our description box.
I was
And
about to say?
if you also
What did
want
I?
to donate to his coffee account, you can do so. I also
Ah,
included the link there in the description box. And if you want to support my channel, kindly click on kofi.com/ ask teacher Jhei. So one cup of coffee will go a long, long way to Mr.
it
Nightmage
will.
and myself. All right, so let's move on. Our next topic is about cosplaying itself. Um, what is the difficulty in the artistry of cosplay for you?
Ah, man. For me, difficulty now, honestly, I will say right this second now is kind of figuring out what to do. Like I said, I've done like over 250 cosplays now, so
Mhm.
trying to figure out what calls to me, what I figure out I'm gonna have fun with. That's the difficulty now. When I first started, the difficulty was figuring out the P's and Q's, like what is okay to do, what's not okay to do. I mentioned the very first costume I did was Green Lantern, John
Mhm.
Stewart, and to be honest, I really wanted to do Guy Gardner. Like Guy
Mhm.
Gardner at the time was my favorite Green Lantern, and that was the costume I really wanted to do. But I didn't know if it was going to be socially acceptable to be Guy Gardner because traditionally he's seen, as a white guy, and I didn't know if that was going to be socially acceptable. So then I chose my second favorite Green Lantern, John Stewart. Now I know that sky's the limit. Like cosplay really at the core really is nothing more than your fan art of the character. So there's no There's no wrong way to do cosplay, man. I mean, it's you're recreating this character in your own image, however you look. You know, whether you're tall or small or fat, skinny, it doesn't matter. Male, female, it doesn't matter. Like however it is, you're creating this character as you. Um, so if I was to go back in time, I would probably do Guy Gardner, but
Mhm.
um, man, yeah, now like that's my biggest qualm is just trying to figure out what to do because I've done so much now. And that's my really thing is everyone's like, well, will you do this character or will you do this character? And they're giving me suggestions. And my thing is, I will do any character. Nothing is off but the books. I will do any character as long as I feel like I'm going to have fun with it. If I don't, if I'm not going to have fun making this character, then there's no point in me doing it. There's what's the point? There's no end game there. So as long as I think I'm gonna have fun making a character, I'll do it. So yeah.
Well, if we could recall when my students reacted to some of your cosplays, they had a varied opinion, and they chose significant costumes. Then they had to review the history of the character. And I myself did my own observations of your costumes. And I find it so, should I say, relieving that there are costumes from different cartoons back in the 80s and the 90s that you have touched upon. First and foremost, Bulletproof. I love the character Bulletproof. Because cops, I used to have those toys. They're like, uh, uh, they're like 10 inches big, and they articulate. And they remind me of the 90s, especially the fact that the the cop's toy line had
Mhm.
explosive caps for their guns, so they actually fire away, and it's so reminiscent of the 90s. Now I'm very much interested. What are the costumes or cosplay personas that appeals to you or speaks to you, even if you have not been doing it for the past years?
Um, honestly, it's those cosplays. It's the cosplays that
Mhm.
I grew up with. It's the ones like Cops, GI Joe, um, Thundercats. It's the ones I know. I just did a Mr. T from DC Cab.
Mhm.
It's the ones that I grew up with that I have fond memories of. Those are the ones that really speak to me. Because again, yeah, they're fun memories, man. They're things I grew up with. I'm like that was a great time. Those are the ones that really speak to me. I mean, of course, there's the ones that are they're just fun, just like fun to create, or you just feel, you feel badass in. But it's the ones that are nostalgic. Those are the ones that really speak to me and kind of have a sentimental type of value. So yeah, definitely like bulletproof. Bulletproof is one.
Yeah,
There's honestly,
Lion O was also another.
well, what the thing is also like the the cartoons and movies. Well, not movies, but the cartoons from the '80s. Like they had a message. Like every single cartoon at the end there was some or just during the show there was some sort of message of don't do drugs, don't do this, don't do there was some sort of life message and a little bit of it was imprinted on you. And I think that's one thing that like a lot of shows lack today. So yeah, the a lot of stuff that I grew up with, a lot of the '90s and '80s cartoons, yeah, those are the ones that I feel really, really, really best about.
All right. I am reading the chat box. Then Darkest Mark said, "Mage needs to do a gender bent Xena." So Xena Warrior Princess, 90s.
So, all right, I honestly, I'm down with that. I actually, I'm down with doing a gender Xena.
Why don't do both the Xena Warrior Princess and the Kevin Zorbo version of Hercules?
I mean, so I'm a little upset with Kevin right now. Like Kevin, Kevin's been disappointing me for a long time now. But as a character, I Hercules was always, he was okay. But Xena has actually always been, I don't know, like a hierarchy. I think Xena's always been there. Um, so I would rather go a full on Xena. However, let's go full Xena.
Okay, have you ever been in touch with other cosplayers, whether it's in the US or internationally? And who do you follow right now?
Oh man, dude. Like I honestly, the reason why I've gotten into this is because of cosplayers like who started following me and noticing me.
Mm.
Dude, there are so many, and that's the thing with this hobby is it's blown up so much in the past 10 years. It's so many cosplayers, so many influential cosplayers, and like everyone's doing their own thing, and it's just honestly, there's so many there's so many cosplayers out there. I mean, Riddle is one that I've always followed Riddle, and I got to meet her and got to work with her. She's so amazing with just her builds, but then she's also actually into the industry. She works for a company that does a lot of stuff with like Marvel Studios and their costume design and stuff. So she's like she's deep in it, man. Like, and not only that, but she's just an amazing philanthropist. Like, she's an amazing person. She just her heart is gold. She's one that I just like. I really look up to. Carlos Blanchard, Eric Moran. Eric Moran Smoke it. He's one of the ones that who first took recognition to me, and he was the one first ones that I saw that like he made me realize that cosplay really is your fan art. You know, you don't have to look like the character. It really is whatever your interpretation of this character is. There's literally hundreds, man. Like it's um it's crazy. Like honestly, my Instagram and Facebook feed, I could just go online and just scroll and just get inspiration and positivity from so many cosplayers. It's this is honestly one of the best hobbies um I can say anyone can follow. The cosplay community is just full of this positivity and acceptance. I mean, of course, you have your negative parts, like any group, but for the most part, everyone is just so accepting and so positive, and that's what it's about.
Well, those are things that inspire you to become more or better in your field of cosplay. Now,
Absolutely.
I want to touch the reason why I followed you. And the reason why I followed you is because I admired your take on Spawn. Now, what do you think is the impact of Spawn in your cosplay? And do you credit the your take on Spawn as the reason why you became Knightmage? Or is it something else?
Um, so I yes and no. So I think um as far as Knightmage, so like the name Knightmage and that name in particular and that that just became a thing because of I don't know who remembers, but it was a show who called Who Wants to Be a Superhero.
Mm-hmm.
It was on Sci-Fi Network. It was hosted by Stan Lee, and so I saw the first season. I was like, oh my god, this is freaking awesome. And um, I missed the tryouts and stuff for the first season, so I worked on it for the second season, and I came up with this character called Knightmage, and basically he was, in a nutshell, he was a cross between Doctor Strange and a Jedi Knight. And so I got to become an alternate for the second season. Obviously, I didn't make the show, but the name just kind of stuck around, and a few years went past, and I started doing a couple YouTube, like 2 minute silly, stupid YouTube shorts on the character. Then I started cosplaying. And once I started cosplaying, I had opened the Nightmage Facebook page just for the YouTube stuff. But then people start liking the cosplay. And so the name kind of stuck and it just spread. Well, Spawn was probably one of the first um, cosplays that I did that went viral. A friend of mine, Freddie Nova, who's a fantastic cosplayer, she lived in Cleveland, and I looked up to her, and she was doing a Spawn cosplay, and I had an opportunity to do a photo shoot with her and Adam Jhei, who came over from England, is a fantastic photographer. Um, and so I figured, man, like I have this opportunity to do this photo shoot with them. I'm going to go all out in the Spawn outfit. So I made the Spawn outfit and I just done it up and from the first moment I posted the photo, like it went viral. And that was kind of how it started. So I would say Spawn was the character that really started the whole cosplay thinking like, man, I can make something out of this type deal. As a character, though, Spawn is probably and definitely in my top five like favorite characters. First of all, like representation just absolutely matters, especially now. And Spawn being one of the very few prominent black characters in comics and movies, I felt like I had to do it. Like Spawn is he's such a unique character. There's no other character like Spawn. He's just so he's that ultimate anti-hero. Um, but yeah. Spawn is just was just the bee's knees, man.
Well, um, I I I I I also watched that Spawn movie by Michael J. White, so I know how it feels to appreciate something that deserves a lot of love, especially the character Spawn itself.
Oh yeah.
Now, let's segue in our chat box. Insane Flicks Official. Hello, Kiefer, my student from Learning Links, grade 8. Shout out. Tigger also wanted to say hi. Charles De
Hi, Charles.
Castro. Yeah, he's one of my choir members. Oh, Gab Gamboa. This is one of my students as well. And my wife is Mamu Chabe. Shout out. All right. Uh, well, based on the character and the association of the African American society, um, what is your take on? Of course, they consider it one of the greatest characters ever to represent the African American lineage, which is Black Panther. What is your personal opinion about that?
Man, like that's a very broad question. Um, Black Panther, yeah. Black Panther is um Black Panther is one of those characters that deserves to be celebrated on just so many levels. Um as a character, as what the character represents. And Black Panther honestly is one of those characters that is rarely Um, I'm actually gonna dare to say like perfect as far as in again what he represents and what it means to be a hero, what it means to be a leader, and what it means to just be a representation of a people. And it honestly is a perfect character. Um, in 2020, we lost Chadwick Boseman, who portrayed Black Panther in the movies in the MCU, and he was again he was perfect. He was one of those ones that I mean the MCU has been perfect in their casting all around, but um, he is just one of the ones that when I heard about the passing, it was just like, what, Chadwick Boseman, he just didn't die. Yeah, Black Panther passed away too. Like he was the perfect casting, he was the perfect embodiment of the character. Um, just in a whole, Black Panther is a representative of just so many different ideals, and again, he's a perfect example of what it is to be a hero and to be a leader and to be that hero.
And the impact that the Black Panther franchise, the Black Panther character itself, um, made a lot of people realize that heroism is not about color. It's
It was crazy that when that movie first came out, and conventions were still going strong and stuff, and I would go to a convention and I would see, and we all knew at conventions it was fine. Again, like cosplay is your art form. There's no wrong way to do it. I, I would see so many people of other ethnicities, other than African American, cosplaying as Black Panther, and they would just come up to me and just, do the salute and just like so proud and stuff. And man, and that's my whole point is that character, Chadwick Boseman himself, but that character also just transcended race. However, he promoted his people too. So it was a little bit of this both, man. It's one of those things that's rare that you could be proud to be of that people, but then yet you could just be proud to love that character and be a part of the lore and just you know yeah.
the outpouring of love and respect. Um, well, hats off to Mr. Boseman wherever he is right now. I do cherish all of his movies. Uh, the ones that even people do not even know that it was him. It's because of Black Panther then they got to know him as an actor, and
Right.
because of his recent demise, people now saw his significance. Um, very comparable to heroes in our country in the Philippines. They represent, even if they do not become heroes in a war, they represent something they stood for. And in the aspect of artistry, in the field of cinema, Mr. Boseman excelled in the movie genre. In order for him to portray the character, he absorbs it.
And
And
that's the thing. And a lot of people, yeah, he's going to be best, remembered as Black Panther. But man, he's played so many iconic African American characters, man. Like
yes,
James Brown, Thurgood Marshall, like dude, Jackie Robinson. Like he really took that was his love, and that was his love is bringing those characters to life to show them how powerful and how influential they were. And yeah, Black Panther was just another notch, man. Like Black Panther, honestly, as a character, and they go to show, he was just as influential and powerful as all those other characters.
Well, for me, the irony is this: it took a fictional character portrayed by Mr. Boseman in order for him to be more significant, or it elevated his significance beyond what he has portrayed. So the thing is, it was just an African American, should I say, inculturation.
Mhm.
But when Black Panther came in, it became a worldwide phenomenon that people,
I
yeah,
no,
that people, yeah. Go ahead, sir.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay, Michael.
No, I understand 100% what you're saying, and I think I was just gonna say I think it's because honestly, it's easier for people to digest. When you talk about real life figures, people don't respond to the reality that's in their face. They kind of back off on it a little bit. But if you package it in something that's fantasy, people are a little bit more receptive. And unfortunately, it will take something like that fantasy receptiveness, and something happens, and they say, "Oh man, like I didn't realize how big this was. I didn't really understand how big the impact Jackie Robinson was, or James Brown, or Thurgood Marshall. It took Black Panther for other people to recognize this." Yeah, some people just they kind of don't want to see what's right in front of their face. They want to kind of see the fantasy side, which I get, but fortunately we had Chadwick um, to bring that out.
Well, that was a very deep topic for us to discuss. So I'd like to segue a bit, make it a little bit light. We have new people coming in the chat box. Angelo Ignacio, yes. Hello, Angelo. Good morning from Learning Links. William, of course, also from Learning Links, a grade 10 student. Hi, Sir Jay. This is William, and also Knightmage. I love your cosplays, of course. Uh, and I think my wife and Darkest Mark is chatting around. Uh,
They're
uh,
having their own little discussions going on. I don't. Yeah.
yeah. Well, um, let's move on with a next topic because this is also related with what we have discussed a few moments ago. But I think some of the guests right here, they are not also aware that you are a presidential awardee, and I'm very proud to know you as such a person, uh, because of what you do with your cosplay. And I would like to give you the opportunity to also tell us what happened, why did you receive the this merit from President Barack Obama?
Yeah. So when I first started cosplaying, again, that was it. I didn't know a convention, so I was just doing charity events and hospital visits, and literally that was the only thing I was doing. That was the only reason I was cosplaying, was every weekend I was just doing some kind of community event or charity event.
Mhm.
And a lady I work with, Brenda Ryder, she has an organization called Away with Words Foundation, which is an organization that deals with children's um, cancer patients. Thank you. And so she, my girlfriend's bringing me sodas and stuff. Thank you very much. Um, so so yeah, she surprised me with that honor, and of submitting my name for the Presidential Volunteer Service Award, and I got it. And I don't know. I mean, I was thrown back by it, and the funny thing was when I knew I was getting the award, I got the letter and stuff. I read it. I was like, okay. Like I didn't register, and that night that I was getting the award, I had a charity event going on. So I was like, all right, well, I'll go to the charity event. They'll send me the award. I don't know. I wasn't really thinking about it too much because at that time, not to humble brag, but I was getting a lot of awards from different places for that very reason. So I went to my event. I did the event, the charity event, and I got home and I saw on the news that night that it was a presidential award, and I'm like, oh crap! Like I just totally blew off a presidential award for a charity event, which was the saving grace for it, though. You know, like who does that?
You.
Me, I guess, me. But no, it was I ended up getting I got the award, I got the plaque, the pen, and so forth, and um, just to have that award and to be nominated for that award and get that award is special. But on a deeper level, to get it from honestly from President Barack Obama, that's a whole nother thing. That goes just again that kind of goes with the whole Chadwick Boseman thing, the representation, the just the proudness of you feel more connected and just that that whole thing. Um, yeah, so that was that was that. That's my pride. That's one of those things where it's like you could say, man, you can't tell me nothing. You know what I mean? Like that no matter what, I'll have that, and no matter what I do, honestly, no matter what I've done
Hmm.
with cosplay, it doesn't matter like where I've been, how many contests I've judges, who approaches me, whatever. That will always be the upper echelon of where I hold my cosplay profession career is like that's it, man. Like I can't I don't think I can ever have an honor bigger bigger than that.
Well, you deserve it first and foremost, based on the efforts that you have given to the society. If I could recall, the reason why I invited you to become our speaker is to incorporate cosplay, the significance of cosplay in contemporary arts and in the society itself. And I find it pleasing that people are now embracing a lot of art forms as a norm of society and a way also to help nurture and grow and develop um, the society itself.
Hmm.
And I know it's already of your system that the reason also that you have been successful is because your charity work is top notch. Uh, and you have dedicated your cosplay career to the cause of you being able to help the charitable groups or the beneficiaries that you commit yourself to. For everyone who's watching right now, can you enumerate some of your most memorable charity events?
Mm. Like man, there's been so many. Like that whole being able to give back through
Mhm.
cosplay has always just been my number one thing. Like cosplaying is fun for me. Being able to create costumes and do things, travel and meet people, that's fun. It's awesome. But if I can't find a way for me to be able to give back through it and you know share the love, then there's no point in me doing it. So that's my whole goal is I want to, no matter what I do, no matter what I create, I want to be able to give back with it. Um, man, there's just been so many.
Top of
I've
your list.
been
Yeah.
well, I've been blessed to work with so many organizations. Like I've worked with probably about 60 to 65 organizations, like charitable, charity organizations across the world, and every single one of them. Every time I reach out to them, some actually have either known who I was, and they're like, "Oh my god, yeah, we would love to, partner up with you and stuff." And then some are just, just really responsive. Some don't know who am at
Mhm.
all. But then once I, give my spiel and they find out what I can do for them, they like, oh my god, they're appreciative. So it's been amazing. A lot of the people I've been able to meet with through the organizations have been amazing. The one thing that I think will always stand out, and it was when I first kind of started. It was a school assembly. It was like a anti-bullying assembly I was doing, and I was dressed as Batman, and I got invited to do this event, and I came out. It was probably about 250, 300 kids, um, middle school age. And I came out, you do a speech about not bullying and how it's wrong, and it was like I said, it was assembly, and it went off awesome. A couple weeks later, one of the teachers contacted me and said, "Hey, man, like the kids are still talking about you being there. Batman was awesome. They loved it, but there was one kid. There was one kid who keeps talking about you, and I just want you to know, like he really just keeps talking about you." Well, it turned out, I mean, the school event was a predominantly white school. The one kid that kept talking about me, he was like one of the only black kids in the school. And he kept saying, "Oh my god, like Batman looks like me. He looks like me. I could be Batman. Like that means I could be Batman, right?" It didn't hit me until, I was told that man, like the power influence that you have, I it never and that's kind of when I really truly adopted the idea that cosplaying really is just your art form. It's just creating the characters that you see yourself. My job isn't to try and be the character that I see someone else created. My job is to make you believe the character always looked like me.
Yes.
And that was probably the most powerful thing that's happened that will always stick with me. Like to know that maybe I helped inspire this kid to, you know, be Batman or just to create his own character or whatever it is, but just to know that he felt empowered by seeing a character of color. That right there, that's what it's all about, is empowering people. And again, man, like w- you know, characters of color, we are underrepresented, in comics and TV and anime and so forth. So the more we're out there, man, the more it's going to help.
And for me, hearing that story uh, tells me how effective you were as a representation of your community, as an inspiration to future generations because they look up to you. Um, it's not just the award or the merit that you get, but the lives that you actually touch moving forward. Because in for me in teaching, even if I get a lot of thank yous for my students, I tell them, don't thank me yet. Prove me that you will be successful in life. And that's where I could consider myself being thanked because
All right.
you have applied whatever you have learned from me and from all of your teachers. So that is the same thing that I feel when you said that story, because you have touched and changed a perception of a child. And moving forward, that child will consider you as a beacon of hope because you gave him the strength to recognize himself as Batman because he could be Batman. So those are the things that we the two of us could touch on and be inspired with to do our things better. So yeah.
And actually, man, I gotta even correlate that honestly. You know,
Mm.
a lot of people ask, like, well, how does your like cosplaying how does it affect your day job in a sense? And I kind of actually correlate it the exact same way is, and I look at it like this, like I get people, who say thank you for your service, thank you for being in law enforcement and stuff, man. And to be honest with you, that's great and stuff, but I don't want you to respect me because I wear a badge. I don't want you to respect me because of my profession. I want you to respect me because I respect you and the way I've treated you and the way, I've presented myself. That to me is where it's at. Like, and so therefore, for that, I want you to carry that on to the next person. Like, I think sometimes we get lost in well, just because someone does this, you're supposed to feel a type of way or respect them. Well, no, they're supposed to earn that. My job is
Mm.
to make you earn my respect. And um, in that aspect with the cosplaying and the charity aspect, I hope I've shown that. I hope I've shown that cosplaying can be used for a greater good. But then
Mm.
across the board, I hope that the way I present myself in a professional manner shows that like law enforcement can be respected in a certain type of way, and I hope I'm a good representative in both.
Well, well, I do hope that the questions that I'm asking right now is I don't mean to be so uh, personal on your point, but I do hope I'm not,
Be personal, man. Come on.
All right, Jason said Mike will back me up on this, but for many people, portraying a character in cosplay allows them to express a side of themselves they can't as their everyday self. Yeah, I think this is pertaining to our discussion. Um, well, if you put it in the context here in our country, in the Philippines, that's the
Mhm.
reason why I invited you in the first place, because I want my students also to experience uh why am I being able to communicate with people like you. It's because I try to reach out to them. it Communication is important. Your means of communicating is through your cosplay. My means of communicating is to being able to contact people, to introduce myself. And this is my cause. I want people, or I want my students to be involved with people like you
Mhm.
and to be more inspired, because we'll never know what would end up with my students. But at least I gave them, my responsibility is that I showed them people that they can look up to. And at the end
We
of the day, I am satisfied with it because, of course, Michael Wilson, my gosh, Knightmage is. I had the chance to talk to you, chat with you, call you my brother from another mother. And
That's the thing, man. Like we listen. This generation has the unique ability to connect with the people of the world. Like, eh, and honestly, just like cosplaying has granted me this unique ability of just being able to travel and meet with people and connect with people and experience other cultures. And honestly, man, I am 100% better person for it. Like, however, I will say it's at everyone's fingertips. Like with social media, and you are, man, you're able to experience other people's cultures if you're willing to just open yourself up to it and willing to talk and willing to listen and willing, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no reason why we should have a such a closed-minded type of society, and there's no reason. It's other than just people are either lazy or just too bigoted not to want to do it. Like I don't know. I don't know. I've honestly come to a point where I truly believe we live like in a symbiotic like type of society where like we need each other, man. Like we are one people. We really are, and just it kills me that people don't understand that and realize that.
well, the past few minutes of our discussion were emotionally and intellectually heavy. So I would like to make a segue once again in the description box below. Kindly like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Ask Teacher Jay. I will be coming up with new episodes in the next couple of days. Also, subscribe to Mr. Wilson's Facebook page and coffee account. Uh, get in touch with him, add him in your social media accounts. And yes, there is somewhat of a discussion going on in the chat box. So I would like to give an opportunity to our live audience to
Yeah,
ask questions to Mr. Wilson. If you want, you could be
yeah, man.
very you're open to ask any question as
Yeah,
long
read them
as
off. Let's do it.
like I said in my class, as long as it's academically sound. Of course, we would like to reach out to my students who are still there watching, even if it's a very windy and cold Sunday morning here in the Philippines. Um, all right, I'm reading some of the chat information here. Jason and the Darkest Marcus interacting with each other. And the Darkest Mark said, "Yep, I 100% agree with this, with all of the statement of Mr. Turner, and I can be extroverted or more quiet and reserved, but once I'm in costume around my fellow nerds, I can be myself and
Hmm.
not be afraid." I don't consider cosplaying for me. For me, the term nerdification is
It,
uh
you, I mean, honestly, man, it's not for everyone,
yeah.
and that's cool. And you know what? I kind of correlate cosplay with remember, like maybe when you were a kid
Mhm.
and you would put glasses on or sunglasses or something like that, and you were invisible. Like you like for some reason you have like glasses on, you're invisible. Honestly, it's kind of like that when you're in costume. Like when you put a costume on, whether it's just a mask or a t-shirt, whatever it is, you feel totally different. You feel outside of yourself. You feel more empowered. You feel different, and man, there's nothing wrong with that. Like you sometimes you find a different part of yourself that you never thought was there. You find honestly, truthfully, if it wasn't for cosplaying, I probably wouldn't be able to be sitting here talking to you right now. Like cosplaying, 10, 13 years ago, I wouldn't be able to sit in a room of 13,000 people and MC a costume contest. But, 5 years later, I found myself doing that. and it's because of costuming, it's because of cosplay, and just you have a costume on, and you just feel different. You feel more accepted. From the first day I walked on to a convention floor in costume, I felt like, man, like I'm with my people. I feel accepted, and it's that sense of community, camaraderie. You feel there's no judgment. There's no nothing, man. You're just at home. You're comfortable, and yeah, it's awesome.
All right.
Ah, love it.
Well, I guess my experience with cosplay is also the same, and somehow it's more adventurous because I need to find the perfect costume, because I always dress up as one costume, and which is Russell from Up. So yeah,
Which is
uh,
a perfect costume.
yeah. So little mistakes. Okay, we have questions already here. Tigger, how do you feel? How do you deal with the language barrier in cosplay when talking with fans in other countries?
So honestly, I've actually used like draw erase boards and just
Hmm.
try and figure it out with like just trying to like if they know a little bit of English, they can spell it out maybe a little bit. Usually, honestly, I've been lucky where if it's a huge language barrier, I've always had an interpreter there with me. But man, honestly, for the most part, the funny thing is the language of the costume translates no matter what. So if I'm if I'm in Saudi Arabia and I'm dressed up as, like Avatar The Last Airbender, someone knows that show and they're excited about that show. They know about Aang. And so they're just like, Aang, but like that's the language right there. It's just the language of love of that character.
Mhm.
And that's the bonding experience right there. Everything else is kind of superficial. We'll figure it out. But right there is that connection. Is that character. I've actually, I gotta say, I've been lucky enough where I've never had an issue where it was just kind of like we leave the conversation like, I have no idea what you were talking about. Like, we'll figure it out. It's always, it always ends up being a positive experience.
All right. Next question from the darkest Mark. What is the weirdest experience or interaction you've ever had either in costume in public or at a convention?
Weirdest. Um, it's not all right. So this is not an interaction per se, but it still will just it still just sticks out to me was sometimes when you get people who don't know characters and they're trying to either just talk to their kid about it, whatever. So one time I was dressed up as Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe,
Okay.
and I had a mother trying to convince her kid that I was dressed up as a Ninja Turtle. It and and the thing is, there's like certain characters where I truly embody, and like when I'm in Snake Eyes, I don't talk because Snake Eyes doesn't talk, right? And he just kind of uses hands signals and blah blah and just gestures, and so I couldn't say nothing. But this mother was like literally trying to like convince her kid that I was a Ninja Turtle, and I'm like, I want to be like, oh my god, no, no, don't don't tell him this. Like he might believe it. No, that was probably just the weirdest thing that for some reason it just sticks out in my mind. I'm sure there are other ones, but that was just one that it
Well,
hurt my soul.
my nerd gene is kicking in. I remember that there is an episode in the comic, one of the comic books for Ninja Turtles where Raphael donned a black costume. Um, that somehow, yeah, I do not remember when was it, but it was during the time that I think Raphael was on a standalone uh version, and then he had leather neck as a partner. They had leather neck, leather face. The crocodile,
No,
alligator,
yeah, no, leatherneck,
that leather
leatherneck.
neck, and they have a
Hmm.
group. And they had the Jimmy the neutrinos. Um, they actually have their own group in Dimension X. I cannot remember what comic book was that, but I do know that
Maybe
there.
that maybe that's what she was thinking of.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
hey, maybe she was onto it, but she just got
uh,
confused real quick.
right. Let's move on to Mr. Turner. Hey, Mike, you should talk about some of your foreign shows you have been invited to and how you were exposed to their cultures.
Oh man, like again, like that's the one thing I really have loved about this whole cosplay career profession thing is being able to experience the world and just meet people and experience other cultures. I honestly, without cosplay, I probably honestly would have never been able to do that. It's just been incredible. No matter where I've went, everyone has been so welcoming. Um, I don't have a favorite, honestly. Between going to Ireland to Barbados to the Middle East multiple times, just every place I've went has just been so welcoming. I still have like dear friends from there, and just being able to experience the cultures. Um, and again, the funny thing is realizing that no matter the language barrier, no matter what, we still have the same language of geek. Like, we're still bonding over comics and anime and video games and movies and just man, it doesn't matter about religion, race. It's nothing matters, man. But we still have that love of what we love, and we'll sit for hours just talking about that, and then that's what I love.
Well, that's the language of art, actually. Whatever aspect art is, whether it's in the performing arts, visual arts, right? Even in literature, it breaks all sorts of norms. Yeah, shout out Mr. Juan Rafael de la Cruz. Yes, former student of mine and also one of my choir members in our church. Good morning.
Good morning.
The darkest mark. Talk about the bride and groom you took photos during the wedding. Their wedding photo.
Oh, okay. She's probably talking about. So there's a place that I take photos at. That's near me. It's a library, the
Mhm,
President McKinley Memorial Library,
mhm.
and it's a few miles down from where I live, and the architecture there is just beautiful. I take photos there of my costumes because it's kind of a neutral setting where I think that with lighting manipulation, like it highlights the costume no matter what I'm wearing. It can just highlight the costume. But then there's certain things that like the pillars and the background and stuff, it brings out the costume even more. Well, it's actually funny. Like now, when I go, no matter where when I go, there's someone walking there, or someone across the street, or someone driving it by that they kind of recognize me. They're like, "Oh, where's Knightmage?" Like it's kind of surreal. But one time, I was there. I was dressed up as Serpentor from Jhei, and I was there, and again, it's a beautiful place. So a lot of times on like the weekends, there's like wedding photographers, wedding parties there. There was a wedding party, and I was dressed up as a Pintor, and so the wedding party was like, "Oh my god, this is awesome! Like, can we get photos and stuff?" So totally crashed their wedding party, and we ended up doing some photos and stuff. And again, the funny thing is, a couple of days later, the mother of the bride commented on the photos like, "Oh my God, that's my daughter."
Mhm.
Like, oh wow, like it just you never know who is noticing you or following you or anything like that, but it's just being able to have that central location and running into people and having them find you and stuff. It's that's fun. But yeah, I love that place. So yeah, if you guys probably always see the same place, it's the McKinley Memorial Library, Niles, Ohio.
Well, McKinley is very a prominent person, especially here in the Philippines, because the significance of McKinley during uh, the start of the 20th century, when the Philippines was still uh, part of history. Right now, we have Bonifacio Global City,
Hmm.
and we have McKinley Hill there. It's an actual hotspot for the famous people in Manila, and yeah, uh, we also have a lot of venues here with regards to. Uh, Let me just listen my feedback there. Yeah, with regards to the venues, so I could relate to what you're saying. So yeah, I think Mr. Turner confirmed what I said about the Ninja Turtles. There was a spin-off called The Mutanimals for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and since he already said that, I do believe that it was like Raphael, Leatherneck, Ray Fillet, that guy MacLeod, the duck. Uh, yeah, that's and
Oh my
Panda
God,
Pan. Yeah.
you are such a nerd.
Well, I collect the toys. I used to collect the
Oh
toys
my God,
when I was young.
the toys were awesome.
Yes, and I'm so sad because I destroyed them all. Because you can interchange the arms and the legs and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually one thing I wish. Like, I wish when I wish I could go back when I was a kid, and I would buy two of every toy. Like you have the toy you play with, but then you just leave the one toy in the package. I wish I just could go back and do that.
It hurts so much because I used to see those Star Wars collections
Oh man.
in department stores, and nobody's picking them up back in the late 80s, early 90s, because the
Mm.
Philippines is not really into toy collecting. They're into toy destroying, but not collecting, right? But those were like, if you put it in the context of sales, you can get a Star Wars figure, the original one, for $1, complete with the packaging and stuff. And that was like early 90s. And
Yeah.
nowadays, how much is like just that significant uh uh Jawa pack, the one with the vinyl coat. I think that was like 7,000 US dollars now. It's
Oh
so
my God.
rare.
All right. Real quick. One toy that you wish that you could have, or that you didn't get when you were a kid that you wish you could have had. One toy.
It's actually a Japanese robot called Voltus 5.
Okay.
Right now, I cannot buy it because the actual model that I wanted to buy costs significantly, around 300 to 400 US dollars. And you back in the day, it was just like $3 to $4. Mm, Those are the things
Okay.
that I regret,
All right. Yeah,
because
that's a good one.
yeah, the Japanese cartoons back in the day, here in the Philippines are more prominent than the American cartoons because they were being dubbed in our language. So they the people had more influence with Voltus 5, Scheider, Bioman, the Sentais. These live action and cartoons that they get from Japan, and they dub it in Filipino for us, our generation to understand. Because back then, it was the start of it was the towards the end of martial law, during the Marcos regime, towards the new administration of the Aquino, the first woman president of the Philippine Republic. That was the time wherein that genre bloomed, and it became prominent nowadays. Those kids back then who are now adults and businessmen, they are now buying their stuff back, and because of that, the demands are very high, and the supply is so little. That's why the
Right.
prices are like zooming up. Whew. It's a touchy subject. Toys. It
It's it,
hurts.
it's a touchy subject. It hurts, but you know what? There's still like a good memory there.
I bet those people who had the pizza thrower, the tank, they're now like regretting that. Where are those pizza cannons or those discs? Because of course,
Oh man,
when they shoot it, they just fly away, and you'll never see them again.
nope, nope.
Uh, Jason, Mark, do you have a favorite collaboration photo shoot or a
Oh
favorite
man.
collaboration photo shoot that you have done?
Um, a favorite collaborate. All right, so off the rip, I gotta say anything that I've actually anything I've ever done with Super Casey,
Mhm.
has been just top of the list because I just love her to death. If you don't know Super Casey, probably the female that you see in a lot of my photos, that is Super Casey. We've
Would love her
done
to have here in my show as well.
Man, she's just been so busy.
I know,
She's
I
been
know.
so busy with work, and I'm so proud of her. But I miss her. I miss her like crazy. But yeah, she's just an amazing cosplayer. And we've done a ton of different duos and charity event photo shoots and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, her. But to be honest with you, I actually don't get invited to a lot of like collaborative like photo shoots. I just it just doesn't happen for me. I don't know why. I'm not you know I'm not against it. I'm very receptive to it. I would love to be, but yeah, for some reason I don't know. I don't get invited to a lot. Maybe I don't know if it's because a lot of the times a lot of the costumes I do, they aren't screen accurate to stuff. They're just kind of my own thing. I don't know if that might be it, whatever. But
Well, I could conclude that it's more of the path that you have chosen. Because personally, when observing, especially cosplayers here in Asia,
mhm.
it's more of a, it's entertainment rather than you already have the noble side of it being done. So, of course, if collaboration would be something that is attuned or accustomed with working with other people, you work with societies and you work with significant charitable institutions, and that is your thing. And that's my take on it. I do not know about our audience right now, but I believe you have chosen a more noble path rather than
Well,
it, you know.
I, I, I. Thank you. That humbles me. I love that. Thank you. I won't say it's a more noble path. I will just say it's my path. Like I'm a huge proponent of there's what I choose to do is no better than what the other person chooses to do. It's just It's just what I choose to do. So I wouldn't say it's more noble. I think it's more just my speed.
Your point taken, sir. No problem with that. And of course, this is again, this is a talk show, so we can have our own, justifications on stuff on things. But at the end of the day, it's all about what's going on and how are we contented with what we have. Moving forward, speaking of art, ask Mike about growing his own skills in painting and foam work. His first time
Yeah.
painting a bodysuit and making props, and how his skill grew with practice. So yeah, I knew you touched that when we had our talk in school, but yeah, give us a brief
Um.
overview.
Honestly, it is really just about practice, and the thing is, when I first started, especially with foam work, um, there wasn't a lot of tutorials out there. But now, literally, man, there's like you just type in, a foam pattern for a helmet or body arm or whatever. You're gonna get pages of pages of tutorials, and you can pick through whatever one you choose. So there's tons of tutorials out there. It's all about practice. The foam work, honestly, I found to come a little bit easy because of the again because of the tutorials. Some are easier to follow than others. Man, you got amazing foam smith out there between like Kamui Cosplay, Steve Smith, Punish Props. There's tons out there, and you just kind of pick who you can follow easier and go off of them and that's that. But with the painting, so a buddy of mine, Josh Shaw, when I first started cosplaying, my girlfriend actually had got some underwear of mine airbrushed. From like it was a mall airbrusher, she got some underwear of mine airbrushed as Knightmage, and it was like a little figure. And one day I was like, huh, I wonder if I go to him, I wonder if he could just like help me with a bodysuit like my Batman. And so I went to him and he did it and he had a fun time. Like he's done bodysuits for dancers and like ice skaters, but he never done uh, a superhero bodysuit. So he had a blast, and we became really good friends. And he's the one who taught me how to airbrush. And so like anything like really intricate, I'll come to him, and I'm wearing a bodysuit, and he's airbrushing and stuff. And then he taught me how to use an airbrush and what paints to use, and kind of the color wheel, how that works and stuff. And again, practice, man. Ended up just getting my own airbrush kit and just practicing every day, and that's it. That's what it is. It's practice.
Well, the thing with airbrushes is I didn't never had the chance to attempt to use one. I used to paint figurines called Warhammer, and until now I am still into the miniature wargaming thing. Yeah, it's
I,
a
I think actually hand painting is a little bit more intricate. You have to be more like I don't know. You have to be more delicate. You have to have more of a steady, surgical type of hand.
I have a friend. Um, every time I see him, he seems to have less and less eyebrows. And the reason why, he actually plucks one of them and places it at the end of a brush, and that's how what he uses to do what they call this intricate detail, because the human hair, he believes, is more the strand itself is it it holds acrylic paint better than other other methods. So that's why
All right, don't tell me that because now I'm gonna start plucking my. Are you like?
yeah, he's a friend. He does that with his miniatures. That's why when you look at most of his paint, most of his miniature wargaming figures it's so detailed. The face, the the jawline, the structure of the eyes, the nose, because when you specifically use a paintbrush that deals with intricate design, you have to be steady with your hands, and of course the brush strokes are so delicate that you
Mhm.
don't want to use a brush with a bigger scope, wherein it hits other segments of of the figurine. So the
That
more
makes
the
sense.
yeah, and I that's his style, so I don't blame him if it works for him. As a gamer, we don't look at we don't look at our opponents, we look at the die rolls when we do tabletop gaming. So
Okay.
uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's I've never heard of that, but okay, it makes sense.
yeah, yeah. Let's check here. Shout outs. Yes, Johan Quezon. Yes, my student from Learning Links as well. Good morning. Gab Gamboa, having interesting discussions with my wife in the chat box. Well, okay. Before we end, it's already like 9:30 in the evening in your country, so it's 10:30 a.m. here. Before we end, I would like to for you to answer these questions. This question is
Yeah.
called "Would you rather?" So I'll give you two choices,
Okay.
and let's see. You don't need to explain. Okay. So, would you
Perfect.
rather meet your great grandparents or meet your great grandchildren?
Great grandchildren
Right. Would you rather have more time or have more money?
have more time.
Right. Would you rather have life rewind button or life have life pause button?
Oh my god. Uh, Wait, say that one more time.
Would you rather have a life rewind button or a life pause button?
Rewind.
Rewind. All right. Would you rather know all the world's languages or speak with animals?
Speak with animals.
All right. Would you rather no one show up to your wedding or no one showing up to your funeral?
No one showing up to the wedding.
Wedding. Would you rather be stuck in an elevator or stuck in a ski lift?
Man, s- I'd rather be stuck in a ski lift.
Right. Would you rather go to dinner alone or go to a concert alone?
Oh man, I do both of those. Um, I'd rather go to a dinner alone.
Would you rather have world peace or stop world hunger?
Mm, are they one and the same? I'd rather have world peace.
World peace. Would you rather go skydiving or go jumping?
Skydiving.
Skydiving. Would you rather be an adult your whole life or be a kid your whole life?
Oh man, I'd rather be an adult.
Mhm. Would you rather go on vacation with your friends or go on vacation with your better half?
Oh man, like she's probably listening to this, man. Come on, you can't do that. Like, um, I'd rather go on vacation with my friends. My friends.
Okay. Would you rather side a salad or side a soup?
Um, Oh man, side salad.
Side of salad. Would you
You know
rather?
what, I gotta say, I feel like you're judging me with all these. Like I feel like you're like every time I answer, I feel like you're kind of judging me.
No, it's just a series of questions. I'm just reading it right now.
Yeah.
Because it really depends on how people would interpret it, right? It in the Philippines it's called fast talk, and we get there is uh, a very prominent talk show host that does this, and he usually gets he uses other things. I made it a little bit more should I say academically sound rather than naughty, because of course we have kids watching us right now.
Of course,
Uh, so
be
yeah,
gotta be have to behave.
would you rather get a brand new house or get a brand new car? That's the last
Brand
question.
new. Oh man. Uh, brand new car. No house.
House.
Yeah, house.
House. Okay, Tigger said he's a kid.
That those are tough, man. Like a lot of those, it's like you can go either way. But for some of them, I was trying to think like long term, like which one would be more beneficial. I don't know. I was probably overthinking them.
Well, yeah. Because the thing about the fast talk questions are mostly not really that personal. It's more of what would you answer in the spur of the moment, and that's what Mr. Boy Abunda is very known for.
Okay.
And uh, I incorporated it to our show because I think we would also want to see a different side of Mr. Wilson or any guest in particular with handling those kind of on the spot questions.
I
well,
get it.
well, there are so many comments right now in the chat. Mr. Turner, he thanked me. He said thank you for this wonderful seminar. I look forward to watching more of your videos, sir. I would agree. I will make content both in my local dialect and in English so that people will understand. That is the actually that's my advantage because I am able to appeal to English speaking audiences and at the same time my Filipino audiences as well.
That's
And
awesome.
I'll make it a point that both contents will be uh, of equal value and of equal significance. And moving forward, if you want to suggest any topics that I wanted to discuss, because my first episode dealt with my students' concern about balancing gaming life and studies. And another request was how to balance their time at home and in time in school because of the pandemic. So I'm currently working on that episode as well as we speak. So yeah, if you have if Michael, if your friends would like to request for an episode or you know, if they want to be on the show, they could request it. No problem with that.
All right, listen, I got some friends. Yeah, I'm gonna push them. They got to be on the show. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They've got to do it. So yeah.
So Jason Turner is asking, would Mike prefer chocolate cake or chocolate ice cream?
Oh man. Chocolate cake.
Chocolate cake.
Yeah,
Same.
chocolate cake.
The triple fudge one.
Oh man, like I'm breaking out just thinking about that. Like, oh, that's so good. Oh,
And he attests that Knightmage going to choose chocolate cake.
Uh, my wife said this regarding your choice about the chocolate cake.
it's a good choice. I mean, how can you go wrong with chocolate cake? Like chocolate cake and bacon makes the world go round. Those are the two things.
And they're considered sins here in the Philippines. Chocolate cake and bacon. They're sins.
Really?
Because they are salty and sweet. So and it goes
Huh.
against your diet. Filipinos are like very keen on eating healthy,
I
quote
mean,
unquote.
chocolate cake has eggs and milk, and
And so is
it's
diabetes.
that's true. Darn it.
All right. Yeah. Well, that uh at that note, we end our show for today. Thank you very much, Michael, for having this wonderful time with me.
Thank you so much for having me. It was amazing.
Well, I never had a dull moment, even in the chat when we have our Facebook conversations. Never had a dull moment with you.
Good.
I
Good.
do thank you for also supporting me because you know my struggles for the past few months, especially here in our country that's very well affected by the pandemic. Of course, every corner in the world is affected by the pandemic, but of course, it's so different when you get to know people outside of your comfort zone and they share to you firsthand the experiences and the difficulty
Yeah.
of the situation. So
But
and
yeah, again, man, like I've told you before, like I have the utmost respect for what you have been doing. Like you, as an educator, um, time and time again, you show that you care, and that's honestly all that matters. But you go above and beyond to try and teach and try and, um, show a better side of the world and people. And dude, that you're amazing.
and you are also amazing, sir. You are an inspiration and we idolize you. All right. On that note, thank you very much to everyone. Thank you for watching or staying with us for the past hour and a half or so. And please do not forget to support Mr. Michael Wilson. The links are in the description box below. You can also check out his Facebook account and his coffee account as well. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. And for more updates, kindly also click on the bell for your notifications. All right, that's it. Thank you very much and see you soon.